Harrington gets dumped by Benami. The leaders are winding up here. Daytona, the big one is out.
Good evening, race fans. My name is Jake Fescannon here with Team Goon Squad, here to bring you the Crazy Dog T-Shirts Xfinity Series. We've got racing every Sunday night. We are back here for the third race in the season here at Texas Motor Speedway. Drivers are just out on track finishing up their qualifying attempts right now, so we're going to bring you a little bit of information on this. Tonight's race is going to feature 80 laps around the Texas Motor Speedway. Track's just under 1.5 miles length, Fort Worth, Texas. Drivers are going to have at their disposal 2 sets of tires for tonight, as well as 65% of a fuel capacity. And I believe they will be having 1 fast repair available as well. It's going to be an exciting race tonight. We've seen Craig Jancic just absolutely dominate the league so far tonight. We'll see if anybody else is able to bring any kind of challenge to him or if they can upset him at all, but he has been the class of the field so far this season. Got a good, healthy group of drivers out there so far as they are finishing up the qualifying. Looks like so far on track we've had 19 drivers take time, so that should be how many we have starting. And as all the drivers start making their way out onto the pace or on the pit road, we are going to get our starting grid pulled up for you. So starting off on the pole is going to be none other than the driver of the 02 Chevy Camaro. That's Craig Jancic. Going off in second place tonight outside of him is going to be the driver of the 55. That's James Harris. Back in row number 2 is going to be the 77 of Brian Lorenzo, starting off in third, and outside of him in fourth, it's going to be the 64 of Brett Murphy. As we work our way back to row number 3, that's going to be the 35 of Tyler Meeks on the inside in fifth, and Cam Anderson in the 39 is going to be on the outside in sixth. William Mann is going to be starting off in seventh in the 57 machine tonight, and Kevin Kirchar is going to be starting off in eighth in the 91. Joe Gregory in the 15 is going to be starting off 9th tonight, and Kevin Ward's going to be going off in the number 112 machine in 10th. Dan Oliver in the 83 machine will be on the inside of row number 6 in 11th, and Justin Gainham's going to be outside of him in the 69 machine starting off in row number 12. As we work our way back through the rest of the field, you see Joshua Kerner is going to be rolling off P13 and 14 machine. Outside of him is going to be Anthony Ferrante. He'll be in the 59 machine starting 14th. Derek Stanley is going to be piloting the number 86 Toyota Supra tonight. He'll be rolling off 15th. Charles Whitehead's going to be rolling off 16th tonight in the 51 Chevy Camaro. Rounding out row number 9 is going to be Robert Wynn on the inside, 16 Ford Mustang. He'll be starting 17th, and outside of him is going to be Robert Wynn Jr. in the 89 Ford Mustang, starting 18th. Round out our 19-car grid is going to be the 73 of Topher Baltimore. He'll be starting off in 19th tonight. That's going to be your starting grid as the drivers are starting to roll onto the track now, getting formed up behind the pace car. So we get them all set, and then the next time by, we will set them loose for 80 laps of intense Crazy Dog T-shirts action tonight. We'll see how these drivers do navigating this Texas Motor Speedway. This has a tendency for being very slick and loose on drivers at times, especially in these Xfinity cars where they have fairly high horsepower to downforce ratio. We'll see how that comes into effect if we see people. Turn 2 often tends to be the calamity corner of the 4 on the track. We'll see if that tricks anybody up or if everybody's able to handle that clean. So far this season, we've only had 1 caution through 2 events. See if they can keep that trend going tonight, if it's going to be green the whole way, or if we're going to finally see some mayhem break loose. Pace car is going to be pulling off momentarily. Janzik will be leading them to the Geico pace car zone. Pace car's off now. We'll see when Janzik decides to start. He can start anytime inside that blue box there, or as soon as the green flag comes out. Looks like he is off and rolling. He's going to quickly jump out to about a 1 to 2 car lead over Harrison Lorenzo. Work their way out of the front stretch down into turn number 1. Janzik quickly jumps to a almost half-second lead as Lorenzo and Harrison run side by side as they work their way out of turn number 2. We see side by side looks like about 3, almost 4 rows back, so that's going to be 2nd through 8th place on the track. Drivers work through turn number 3, start to get sorted out a little more single file. Lorenzo moves his way in front of James Harrison. James Harrison's potentially going to be quickly under the attack of Brett Murphy. He's going to be piloting that 64 Chevy Camaro, trying to work on the 55 Crazy Dog T-shirt Toyota Supra of James Harris. James was away last week, we missed him, but he's back out on track ready to mix it up with everybody. We'll see if he can provide any challenge to both Lorenzo and Janzik and try to upset our podium 3 finishers later tonight. But it is still fairly early on as they have only completed 2 laps out of the 80. Looks like some drivers are starting to sort out and work our way back as we've got a good battle brewing between the 39 of Cam Anderson and the B57 White Castle Chevy Camaro of William Mann. See Mann trying to use the draft to look for a little bit of an alternative line into turn number 3 to see if he can try to get around Anderson, but Anderson's doing a good job holding on. It's a battle for 6th and 7th on track. Drivers are where they started out this event tonight. The field for the most part is spread out a little bit. Everybody's kind of choosing to get single file. Looks like everybody kind of understands what this track might bring and the potential risk if they try to push it too hard too early, so we'll see how they handle that. It's like Anderson is going to be under the attack again by Mann, but they're also both quickly closing on the 35 Waste Group Ford Mustang of Tyler Meeks, so we'll see if Meeks is going to be able to pull away from these drivers as they work their way lap number 5 back into turn 1, or if they're going to continue to fall under the attack. This is about 2 seconds behind the 64 Brett Murphy as well, so you're already starting to see some separation in the front 4 from the rest of the field. See Anderson kind of coming down the track a little bit as they entered back into turn number 3 to throw a little bit of a block on Mann, but certainly not say that it's anything malicious or should warrant any kind of payback yet. Drivers understand it gets tough to pass as the runs go on here, especially under green flag conditions, so these drivers are certainly going to be giving it their all to pick up as many spots early on and while their tires are fresh and feeling good as they can. Looks like we got a little bit of side-by-side battle. You see the 2 wide starting to form up a couple rows as Mann almost looks to the inside of Anderson, and then behind them you've got Dan Oliver on the outside. You've got that is the 15 machine of, or excuse me, that's the 86 machine, Mountain Dew Toyota Supra of Derek Stanley. Sporting those chrome colors there, so that car's got a bit of extra shine tonight underneath the Texas Motor Speedway lights. See if that brings them any extra speed Oliver quickly ducks to the inside. Joe Gregory in the 15, University of Indiana Toyota Supra trying to hop under. Oh, we see Dan Oliver disappear for a moment. It's what we call a blinking, where if you haven't tuned in before and heard this, drivers can momentarily lose connection with the iRacing server, and iRacing's not quite sure where to put them on the track, and that lapse. A lot of times they just disappear from the track and then reappear. You see, it looks like Stanley able to hold off charge from Oliver. He pulls away a little bit, and now Joe Gregory, Robert Wynn are going to get into a battle side by side. This is for 11th and 12th on track. Gregory's going to take the outside line into turn number 3. Robert Wynn choosing to go to the bottom. See how that works out. We're going to get back to the front because we've got a really good battle for the lead. Brian Lorenzo quickly trying to challenge Craig Janzik as those two are running side by side down the backstretch. Lorenzo working the outside line, Janzik working the middle of the backstretch as they go back into turn number 3 here on lap number 9. Lorenzo's been pretty famous for trying to make that outside lane work for himself. He seems to be more comfortable up here in these cars, and he's able to clear Janzik. So lap number 9 give the lead to Brian Lorenzo as they start lap number 10 back into turn number 1. He's got about half a car length of the lead, equates to about a 10th and a half on the track. See if he starts pulling away, trying to extend that gap between himself and Janzik, or if Janzik's going to stay glued to his back bumper. Harris is trying to insert himself back into this. He's about 8.5 tenths behind Brian Lorenzo, but he's your next closest challenger, as even the front two have really separated from third, and then they're almost another full second ahead from the back of James Harris to the front of Brett Murphy. So starting to see some separation happen even in the front of the field. It's like Lorenzo start to extend that gap a little bit. He may be content to allow Lorenzo to push a little bit harder. Maybe he thinks he can save tires a little bit more, and with drivers needing to pit, although we see a caution on the track. This will be our first one for tonight. Looks like Kevin Kirchar and William Mann might have had a bit of an issue there, so give it 1 second and we'll see if we can grab you a replay and see what happened on the track between Kirchar and Mann. Take a look at the replay. So you can see Kirchar working the bottom. He's there in number 91 champion Chevy Camaro, and William Mann's up in the 57, the White Castle Camaro. Oh, it looks like Mann just hits the wall, gets tight out of turn 2, and then comes down off the wall, and Kirchar with nowhere to go. He just gets hit on that right side door, and that quickly turns that car all the way to the inside retaining wall. Oh, big hits. Mann comes back off the wall. He gets Kirchar a second time, has Kirchar doing pirouettes in the air. Mann also spinning, but able to keep all 4 tires on the ground. So big, heavy hits for both drivers. And a couple drivers narrowly missing that. That looked like that was the 14 of Joshua Kerner barely getting by. You see the 51 of Whitehead getting by there. And then that looks like that's going to be Toe for Baltimore, just kind of creeping his way through. He did the smart move to check up to make sure he didn't get involved in that. So certainly a big wreck to start out this race early on lap number 11. That was your Team Goon Squad replay. Looks like everybody choosing to come to pits right now. I think everybody's choosing to take their first of 2 available sets of tires they have. Fresh tires definitely matter. Tire fall off is a thing here, so I think every driver was looking at that as potential advantages, and they would already be at a severe disadvantage if they tried to stay out. I don't think the 65% fuel capacity is going to be able to get them to the end. I'm expecting drivers to probably be able to go somewhere in the area of 40, maybe 45 to 50 laps. I think it's probably going to be closer to 40 laps. So they'd still probably looking at another stop for the rest of this event, but certainly the fresh tires come into play. And if they do go green the rest of the way, they'll still be on their allotment of tires there. Looks like we have one driver choose to stay out. That is the 35 of Tyler Meeks. So you see Tyler Meeks in the Waste Group Ford Mustang pacing the field right now behind the pace car. So he's going to be scored as your race leader at the moment. Again, to get you recapped if you're just tuning in with us, William Mann got tight off of turn number 2, made contact with the outside retaining wall. That shot him straight across the track. Came down about a lane, got into the right side door of Kevin Kuchar. Sent Kuchar screaming into the inside retaining wall. He did some magical pirouettes that, if I do say so myself, I would give those a solid 9 out of 10. They were they were very, very well done in the same plane. Very exciting to see, but both of them involved quickly early on in the incident on lap number 11 to bring out our first caution for the evening. We appreciate everybody that has tuned in to cheer on these drivers and lend their support. These drivers love to watch this race, essentially while they're in the cockpit on another screen, or go back and watch it afterwards and see everybody rooting them on. I know all the drivers appreciate their support, so feel free to leave a comment in the chat. Love to see who you are cheering on, how everybody's doing. Glad to have everybody out to bring on the third round of this season. Looks like pace cars getting ready to pull off, so we're going to see a green flag back in the air with Tyler Meeks restarting control of the field. See what happens with him not coming to pit road. He is off and rolling. He's trying to get himself the best jump he can to pull away from the field and build a gap. You see James Harris, Brian Lorenzo going to be battling side by side again on row behind them. Oh, and Harris is having some of those blinking issues there. That's why he's disappearing and coming back. Let's see if he rejoins. Looks like he's back in. Got side by side for second and third between Harris and Lorenzo. Harris drives in a little bit deeper, but Lorenzo's going to have about a half a car length advantage. We'll see if he can get the run off of the corner. They are quickly closing back up on Tyler Meeks. So Meeks is looking at the rest of this field like it's a swarm of angry bees that are just ready to attack him and engulf him quickly. He started this race in 5th place, so trying to play a little bit of track position strategy there. We'll see if it pays off or if they go green long enough to hurt himself. We've got a great side-by-side battle between Lorenzo and Harris right behind him. Meeks taking the very high line up against the wall. Harris and Lorenzo working the bottom lane and one lane up from the bottom side-by-side. They continue their side-by-side battles. They cross back across the start-finish line going into turn number 1. Looks like there was some side-by-side. Oh, and Harris and Lorenzo make some contact. Yellow flag comes out. We'll have to take a look at that. I don't know if that was a bit of an issue with Harris blinking or if he just kind of pushed up into Lorenzo. Looks like Kevin Ward also had a bit of an issue. So we got a couple replays to grab for you. As I said at the beginning of the race, I didn't know if they were going to be able to keep up the green flag strategy, green flag racing, or if we were going to be going to caution. So this quickly our second one here just on lap number 17. Looks like Charles Whitehead also might have had a bit of an issue, so let's pull up the replay and see if we can get a closer shot of what happened between Harris and Lorenzo as they were going into turn number 1. So you can see these two. This is coming just before they go out across the start-finish line. This is Harris and Lorenzo running side by side. Let's take a look behind this and see what happens. This will give us a better perspective of if Harris drifted up. You can see Harris trying to enter in. Whew, I definitely think there's some contact there for sure right there. It looks like Lorenzo was trying to cut down, may have overdriven the corner a little bit, got slightly loose on the outside of Harris. And then as he kind of rotated down, Harris definitely pushed up a little bit and got into the left side of him and sent him around. So it'll be interesting to see how that's ruled in terms of race control. You see the, I believe it was the 59 of Anthony Ferrante that might have gotten in that one. I don't know. So it looks like the 91 of Kevin Kuchar also got a bit of contact out of that. So we'll have to take a look at those replays as well and see what happened. Yeah, that was a really tough one to roll on because it looked like it was a bit of both. Lorenzo maybe cutting down and getting the car a bit upset going into one, but Harris definitely pushed up a little bit. We're also going to take a look at what happened to Whitehead and Ward, as they both also are showing issues coming into that one. grab the replay of Whitehead first. Charles Whitehead's in the 51 mellow yellow Chevy Camaro. Looks like he had Kevin Kirchard right behind him. So this is going into turn 1. This is going to be behind the wreck. Let's see if Whitehead checks up maybe and Kirchard gets into him. Because you see the wreck happening there. There's Lorenzo spinning around. There was the 69 also going around of Justin Gainham. He's headed up for the wall. Gainham's going to get a hard impact in the Wonder Machine. And you got the 57 of William Mann also involved. Man, a lot of cars got involved in this one. Take a look. Let's rewind that back a little bit and see what happened there. See if we can get that rewind and grab a little bit of a playback. Did you see Lorenzo spinning? Whitehead's going to come in. I think he just drove it in a bit too deep trying to get to the inside of Mann, quite honestly. That's what that looks like to me. He just drove to the inside and got right into him. And then the 59 of Ferrante barely avoids that one. Justin Gainham took a shot to the outside as well. And that's where I think Ward's gonna get into this. I think Kevin Ward in the 112 machine, the Ford Mustang, you see him as the last one coming in. That's what happened to him, is he was trying to dive to the bottom, and Mann and Whitehead were already down there kind of occupying that one. So tough break for Mann. I think Whitehead might have just overdriven that a bit. So we'll get you back live as they're continuing to pace. They're getting ready to go again. Meeks continuing to hold on to that lead, though, as that caution came up pretty quick. He's going to have Harris lined up to his outside. Behind him is going to be the 64 Brett Murphy, and on the outside is going to be the 02 Brett Janzik. Your third row back is going to be Derek Stanley on the inside and Cam Anderson on the outside. So don't believe anybody that was not involved in that wreck came in for service. Looks like everybody that came in was involved in some form of contact in that, but we're going to get ready to go as Meeks is going to lead them off again. So they're going to take the green on lap number 21 of 100 tonight. Meeks is off and rolling again, trying to get that jump away from Murphy and Harris to see if he can try to build some sort of a lead. They're 2x2, about 7 or 8 rows deep, trying to sort out. Janzik quickly works around Harris, is able to drive by on the outside and cut back down. So Janzik's going to set his, or excuse me, that's actually Brett Murphy that pulled off. Janzik's back to 4th off of that restart. So Meeks continues to take that high line. You're going to see Brett Murphy and then his service Chevy Camaro try to work to the inside corners through 3 and 4, but Meeks' lead slowly whittles back down to about a quarter of a second. See who can take the power as they are working lap number 22 now. Last time by, Murphy was about a tenth faster than Meeks. We'll see if that gap continues to grow, if Murphy continues to be faster, and it kind of starts to ride itself out, but it's a tale of two lines. You see Murphy working his way all the way closer to the top wall, whereas, Meeks that's working up there. Murphy's working the bottom side in front of Harris and Janzik. So look back there, is Harris is going to try to put a charge on Murphy, see if he can get back by him and reclaim the second spot. Janzik's trying to close up as well, make this a 3-car battle for second, hoping that he can just get by both Harris and Murphy and take the lead back over. Behind them, you've got side-by-side between Dan Oliver and Joe Gregory. They're going to be battling for 6th and 7th on track. See if we can get to this battle, as they are currently side-by-side. Brian Lorenzo recovered well from the spin. He's quickly working his way up through the field. He's going to try to insert himself into this battle, as he's currently running 8th, but looking to grab a 2 for 1 if he can get by both of them, put himself 6th. Oh, looks like Derek Stanley might have had a bit of an issue. That 86 Mountain Dew Toyota Supra slips up, so Dan Oliver, he's blinking on the outside of Joe Gregory. Gregory's quickly trying to pull away in the University of Indiana Toyota Supra. Looks like they start single filing out, so Derek Stanley quickly falls back to 8th place, put Joe Gregory up into the top 5 the first time tonight. Dan Oliver up to 6th, and Lorenzo back in 7th now. Looks like everybody's starting to get single file for the most part. We're going to come back, though, as we still got almost a side-by-side battle. You see Justin Gainham in the 69 Wonder Bread machine trying to work his way back up. On the outside of him is going to be 59 of Anthony Ferrante. Just ahead of them is the 14 Chevy Camaro. That's Joshua Kerner piloting that machine tonight. It's in the Black Rifle Coffee Company Chevy Camaro with Bass Pro on the hood. They're working their way across the line back into turn number 1 on lap number 26. Looks like Kevin Ward's also recovered well from that incident. He's trying to insert himself into this battle. Kerner's not really quite sure where to go because Ferrante and Gainham are both working the high and low lines simultaneously in the corner, so he's really not sure which lane to try to block. You see Gainham trying to quickly work to the inside of Kerner. Not quite able to get there. He drove in a little bit deeper. The 3 was not able to quite close up to Kerner, so Kerner starts to pull away. He's got about 3/10 gap over Gainham. Ferrante and Ward also falling back slightly from this. They're going to try to get there as best as they can. It's going to be a good side-by-side battle. We're going to go back up to the front as we've got side-by-side. Joe Gregory has just put that car on rails. That 15i machine is all the way up to second place as he quickly works by Brett Murphy to take over second. Tyler Meeks is loving this side-by-side battle. He's extended his gap almost to 3/4 of a second. The last thing he wanted to see was Joe Gregory go blasting by Brett Murphy, but Gregory made that pass look easy. Also, Harris has already fallen back. He's going to be falling into the clutches of Brian Lorenzo. We'll take a look at that now as they go 2-2 off of the backstretch into turn number 3. Looks like Lorenzo's able to drive by Harris on the outside to move Lorenzo up to 4th spot. He is quickly recovered from that lap number 17 incident. Harris quickly falling in the clutches. Dan Oliver is going to be the next one to try to swallow him up. You've also got Kevin Kirchard and Craig Janzik back there looking to try to eat Harris alive. Oliver trying to get the draft. He's getting ready to look inside. Kirchard just decides to take that gap instead. He says, Oliver, if you're not going to take the shot at Harris, I'm going to go low and try to take it. Janzik's going to try to line up behind Kirchard, see if he can take that as well. So now they go 2-2. This is a battle for 5th through 8th on track. Kirchard makes that pass on the inside of Harris as they go back down the front stretch into turn number 1. Get single file momentarily. Harris and Oliver both looking up about a lane off the apron white line. Janzik still glued to the white line on the bottom. You know, Janzik definitely favors that inside line. Has been his go-to line for most of the races. Janzik drives by inside of Harrison. Just as I say that, we get our 3rd caution of the evening coming out on lap number 30. Just as they cross the line for 31, so I think I might have brought a bit of a broadcaster's curse talking about how well they had been running up to this point, and yeah, that just seemed to have changed a little bit. We got one person in cheering on James. Crazy Dog T-shirts, Toyota Supra, wants him to get a win away from Craig Janzik. Looks like Harris is going to have to wait a little bit. He's a little bit behind, but not doing bad. It's like Gregory was able to get by Tyler Meeks in the process, too, to take over the lead. We'll see if he comes into pit. These drivers might be inside the window, being able to go all the way on fuel from a stop here, and the way the cautions are coming out as well. You definitely might be able to get enough yellow laps to be able to salvage a rest of the fuel run. Generally speaking, the rule that these drivers are going to try to follow when calculating how many laps they need out of a tank of fuel, you roughly figure that you can run 2 laps under caution to use the exact same amount of fuel that you would running 1 lap under green flag conditions. So we'll have to see how that plays out and what everybody does. A lot of drivers coming to pit road, so we'll see how it sorts out. Looks like there might have been a mix of strategy there. Maybe some right side tires only, possibly, or just fuel only. I'd be really surprised if somebody came in for fuel only unless they'd already used both sets of tires. I believe it's 2 sets they had, so let me get confirmation for you and I can give you that momentarily. And then we'll also grab a look at the replay of what happened. I believe, if I remember correctly, this is a 1 tire or 2 tires. I'll have to see. I'll grab confirmation for that for you guys as soon as I can. Let's take a look at the replay while they continue to pace under and see what happened. I believe it was Anthony Ferrante with the issue. Let's see if we can get that up on the screen for you guys. See Ferrante there in the 59 MSI Ford Mustang on the bottom. Looks like that was the 51 of Charles Whitehead coming down. Yeah, I think Whitehead might have came down off the top side and just got into the right rear, hooked Ferrante right around into the outside wall. Yeah, I think we're gonna put the blame a little more. If I was race control calling that one, I think the penalty might have been assigned to Whitehead for that one. I think he just got a little tight, kind of came down the track. Maybe didn't think Ferrante was quite where he was in relative position on the track. Ferrante definitely takes the brunt of that one as he has heavy damage to the front as well as losing the complete rear deck lid and back bumper. So certainly not going to help the aerodynamics of that car going forward the rest of the race if he runs like that. But we'll get you back to the front of the field as Joe Gregory continues to pace the field. So as they come out of pit road, looks like we had Gregory, Oliver, and Justin Gainham either do fuel only or right side tires in the top 5. Brett Murphy and Tyler Meeks taking what was likely 4 tires, a full fuel tank load. Then you had back there Brian Lorenzo in 6th all the way through Joshua Kerner in the 12th position. They all took 4 tires and full fuel. And then back behind them, we had a couple drivers take some quicker stops that may have been either fuel only or right side tires. The field's getting double filed back up. They're going to be ready to go back green the next time by. Recap your front 5 for you. You've got Joe Gregory leading it on the inside. Dan Oliver will be restarting in 2nd on the outside of him. Behind them in row number 2 is going to be the 64 of Brett Murphy on the inside. Tyler Meeks hanging on to 4th place. He's going to be on the outside. Lorenzo's going to be starting in 5th. Or excuse me, he'll be starting in 6th. Gainham's going to be starting in 5th on the inside. Craig Janzik on the outside of row number 4 with Kevin Kuchar starting in 7th on the inside. James Harris back to 9th on the inside of row number 5, and Derek Stanley is going to be running on your top 10 on the outside of row number 5. We've got 17 of your 19 drivers still on the lead lap. Topher Baltimore and Anthony Ferrante are your 2 that are currently off of the pace. Looks like Ferrante had an extended stay on pit road to get that damage fixed. Get these drivers back under green. Lap 35. Oh, great. We got Harley Berletta. Glad to see him. Wish he was in the race tonight. We've missed him. He was doing great the last 2 weeks, but glad to see you in the chat, Harley. I know you're rooting on James trying to get a crazy dog win. If we stay tuned the rest of the night, maybe we can get you something good from Mr. Harris before the end of the event. But Joe Gregory is going to quickly look to lead this field to green as leader just seems to be able to get a good jump, but this time Brett Murphy doesn't let him get away quite as easy as Tyler Meeks had been getting away the last couple of restarts. So Murphy's got Gregory set in his sights, and he quickly works on him. You see him dive to the bottom there in the middle of 1 and 2, and just tries to make a power move. He quickly clears Joe Gregory, so not even to turn 3, and Brett Murphy has taken advantage of that 3rd place starting position, grabbed the lead away from Joe Gregory. Meeks trying to contend with Brian Lorenzo on the outside. That's going to be a battle for 3rd and 4th place on track. They go side by side. Lorenzo also in your Crazy Dog t-shirt sponsored, but he's in the Chevy Camaro. And we get a momentary of 3 wide as Joe Gregory just gets split by Brian Lorenzo and Tyler Meeks. Those 2 had no desire to hold him. They just went, okay, you go high, I'll go low. We'll take him at the same time. Craig Janzik takes advantage of that, so Joe Gregory having less than stellar start from the front. He is quickly falling back. I'd say maybe if he did fuel only, that might be hurting him because your top 4 all took what is likely 4 tires and fuel. So they are getting the grip out of those 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles. So you see Kachar now working to the inside of Gregory, so Gregory just falling back through this field. I would say if any drivers are trying to study for the rest of this race and they see that strategy, that is not the way to go. Everybody that is on 4 fresh tires is just eating Joe Gregory alive. They're driving by him like he's down a cylinder to them. So Eric Stanley pulls the same move, just dives to the inside. James Harris is going to work to the inside of Joe Gregory. Everybody's just got so much more grip out of those fresh tires that they're just able to maneuver those cars where they need to. We're going to jump back to the front as Lorenzo's quickly making a power move on the outside of Brett Murphy. He takes your lead away. Let's see if he can hold on to it as they work their way back onto the front stretch. Ooh, Murphy gets really loose in front of Meeks and Janzik. Oh, he's continuing to slide all over. Can he save it? He's into the wall. We're still green so far, but he hit hard into the outside retaining wall coming out of the second dog leg. You can see some rear end damage. Looks like some right side damage. It was a hard shot for Murphy. That car just got loose kind of coming across the start finish line. He just kind of kept seesawing at the wheel trying to correct it. He's falling back all the way to 12th place. Big hurt for him. He was on 4 fresh tires as well. So Lorenzo is checked away. He's got almost a full 1 1/4 second lead now over Janzik. Janzik just ahead of Tyler Meeks. Looks like Tyler Meeks might have been the one to get into the back end of Brett Murphy. So you see Tyler Meeks, it's right front, fender of the hood, right by the headlight area, down even lower, closer to that right front tire. You see a bit of that Goodyear sticking out there. He's got some right front damage. That's probably going to hamper that machine, as well as cause some handling issues, whether or not he suffered any internal engine damage out of it, because Janzik's pulling away. He's got almost a full second lead now. So Kuchar and Stanley and Harris are all trying to sniff this fresh blood in the waters. Meeks is now down with that damage. They're all going to try to engulf him and get by him as quickly as possible. You see Kuchar diving to the inside as they work their way back into turn number 3. He's going to go on the inside of Tyler Meeks. He's got that spot now as he's able to clear him coming out of turn number 3. We'll see if Meeks looks to cross over. Meeks just does not have the run down the straightaway to be able to get there. I think he's trying to draft just to stay as close as he can, but he knows he's going to lose him. So we've seen a couple drivers up in the front now since this last restart have issues. You saw Brett Murphy with issues, and Tyler Meeks gets a little bit of trouble out of that as well. Meeks is trying to do the best that he can to hang on to the back end of Kuchar, grab a little bit of that draft, but you see James Harris just able to power by on the inside. Meeks' machine is definitely hurt. He's going to be struggling the rest of the race if we don't get another caution to get that repaired. It's going to put Derek Stanley as the next one, trying to victimize Tyler Meeks and see if he can get by him. Stanley's going to be looking to get himself into the top 5 as well. He's up 9 spots as it stands right now, starting the race in 15, so top 5 will put him up 10 spots. One other driver has been able to manage double-digit gain from their starting position. That's Robert Moore Jr. He's up 11 spots, running in 7th right now after starting 18th tonight. See Janzik also falling back. I don't know if Janzik's slinging back or if he's got a bit of damage, because he is quickly falling back from Lorenzo. Lorenzo's almost got 3 seconds over Janzik, but you see Kuchar and Harris all working quickly to the backside of Janzik as they go down the backstretch. Interested to see what happens. Janzik looks to separate that gap a little bit. Now he's got it back to about 3/10. It was down to as little as 2/10 of a second. They work their way on lap number 45, so got just 36 laps to go coming into the second half of tonight's event. 2x2 for Kuchar and Harris. Kuchar running the middle lane out of turn number 2. Harris on the bottom, now working the middle of the backstretch. He's trying to put that Toyota Super Crazy Dog t-shirt machine back up into the front. Again, we thank Crazy Dog t-shirts for coming on. They came on as a last-minute sponsor to this league, and it really has helped out the league immensely. They've been a great partner so far, and if you're ever in need of any t-shirts, graphics, any screen printing, anything like that, be sure to check out Crazy Dog's t-shirts for all your needs. Harris working to the inside of Kuchar again. You're seeing almost a very similar setup to the lap before, where Harris runs the middle of the backstretch, Kuchar up against the wall. This time Harris tries to drive it in a little bit deeper, see if he can clear him. Looks like Kuchar recognizes that, falls in line behind Harris rather than continuing to fight on the outside. I think he knows that those two work in tandem together. might have a better shot at trying to get by the O2 Nexus Chevy Camaro of Craig Janzik. Janzik's now, I think that car might be a bit tight. He pushes up. We've normally seen him favor that inside line. He also recognizes Harris is a lot faster. So he stays high. Now you have Harris and Kachar both working to the inside of Janzik. Janzik's going to try to get the momentum, see if he can hold off Kachar. I don't know if there's quite enough of a gap for him to slide in between. It's like Kachar's going to try to complete the pass as they work their way back into turn number 1. See if Janzik chooses to fall behind Kachar and dive to the inside, but no, he continues to run that middle lane. It's like now he's going to contend to fall in. Kachar just gets a better drive off of turn 2. So move Craig Janzik back to the 4th spot. James Harris up to 2nd, and Cameron Kachar up to 3rd. See what Harris is able to do with Brian Lorenzo. The last time by, he was about half a tenth off. See what it comes out as this time by. It's about a tenth of a second difference between Lorenzo and Harris. So Brian Lorenzo is still putting on your fastest laps. There's only 3 drivers that have been able to turn laps under the 32-second mark, and Lorenzo was your fastest of them. Ooh, we see Kachar with a big issue coming off turn number, or down the backstretch. Something happened. That car just shot down, and you pulled it off to the inside. I don't know if he's coming down to the bottom, and he's going to bring out the yellow flag here on lap number 50. He takes a tow to the pits. I think he recognized something was going on, but unfortunately was not able to get out quick enough before the caution flag came out. So it's going to bring out your 4th caution of the event tonight. Let's see if we can get a better shot of what happened there a little bit behind. Take a look to that. iRacing might have been quick to kind of pull that trigger on the caution, because Kachar was well out of the racing line, almost up against the inside retaining wall. So while the field continues to work their way around to get behind the pace car, we're going to take a look at that and see. I think this is going to show us a little bit too far ahead. This is the moment when it tripped it, so let's grab a bit of a rewind. Let's see if we can get this back a little bit. It's when Kachar dove off the top, and see if we can tell if there's something that happened. Because I didn't think the brush with the wall was all that bad. You're going to see him push wide off at turn number 2. I'm sure that car was getting tight. A little bit of a brush there. You kind of see the wall, or the car almost pancakes the wall. A little bit, I think it was the right rear that made contact first. And then he just takes it down off the track. Like, it kind of shot off the wall a little bit, but he pulled it all the way to the inside. It almost looks like the way it's sitting, like the left front's flat, but that's such a weird thing considering he pancaked the right side. And then, when he slowed down, this is when it brings out the caution. So I'm not 100% sure what exactly happened there. He must have felt something, or had some sort of, I don't know, maybe if he felt like he had a hardware issue or something to pull it in, but your field comes to pits. Kevin Ward's going to be one of your first 3 cars that stays out there. It's your lucky dog. I believe that's going to be... To see who that's going to be. One person's going to get their lap back. Right now, Kachar's being scored as out, so like I said, he might have... I don't know if because I believe he used a fast repair earlier. I don't know. Like I said, it might have even been a hardware issue on his side. Maybe he had something wrong with the steering pedals or the wheel. The way he just, like, he cut it out like he knew something was going wrong, and he was trying to get out of the way of the rest of the field and not bring out a caution. And unfortunately, where he stopped the car on the track, that brought out the caution. But got a couple drivers kind of taking some risks there, as we've got Kevin Ward being scored as your race leader. Looks like he's now going to be coming into pit, so I think that might have been a bit of a mistake on his part for not coming in, because the 59 of Ferrante's also following into pit, so it's going to move Craig Janzik up to the race lead. Going to have Derek Stanley as 2nd, Brian Lorenzo is going to be 3rd, James Harris is going to be 4th, and Joshua Kerner, the 14th, is going to be in 5th place. Looks like Robert Wynn Jr. might have had a bit of an issue as well under that caution. Let's see if we can grab a replay of what happened to that. There's Wynn Jr. on the inside. You're exiting out of pit road. This is coming on the apron, coming out of turn number 2, but you're going to see a blue line that they have to stay below the apron before they get back onto the throttle. I don't know if anything actually happened here. I think it might just be iRacing going a little weird. He dives to the bottom. Looks like he just stops, maybe? I don't know. I don't think there was actually any kind of contact or problems there, so that's a weird one that has that, but our field's gonna start to work their way. They're getting a little antsy there. They're ready to go. They're like, I believe they get the 2 to go sign. They're itching to get back at this one. So you got all drivers that are still on the track have come to pits under this caution. So I would assume at this point everybody should likely be good to go on the field, but don't quote me, I'm not crew chief in this race tonight. Although certainly with the way the cautions have fallen and the limited tire sets, I don't know if I would have wanted to crew chief this one. This would probably be a pretty difficult race to call from on top of the pit box on pit row. Field's going to get gridded up again. We'll get you a recap of your starting top 10. Jancic again on the inside of Derek Stanley. That's row number 1. Lorenzo on the inside of James Harris. That's row number 2. Kerner is going to be on the inside of Cam Anderson. That's row number 3 for 5th and 6th. Row number 4 is going to see Robert Wynn, Joe Gregory. That's going to be your 7th and 8th place drivers. And then back behind them, you've got Dan Oliver, Justin Gainham in 9th and 10th. They work their way in the backstretch, so next time by, they're going to be ready to go. I'm sure Jancic is chomping at the bit to get a good start, get that Nexus O2 machine off. He was your pole sitter for tonight's event. He's looking to take his 3rd win in a row. If he can capture the victory tonight, he will have taken the first 3 races of this schedule. Schedule that sees some definite interesting tracks coming up. We've got Dover coming up next week. That could be a bit of an interesting one. We've got Talladega. That always throws a wrench. National Super Speedway is going to be a good one. There's some really good tracks coming up as well. So if you're still interested in joining this league, they'd love to have you. It's a great league to join. We'll see when they get ready to go. Looks like Jancic's off and rolling. I think he let our flagman take that start. He was a little bit past the Geico restart zone. Lorenzo quickly moving up on the inside of Derek Stanley. James Harris also will try to take advantage of that and put himself into 3rd place. So the 2 Crazy Dog t-shirt rides. Not afraid to swap paint. Those 2 obviously had a run in to bring out our first caution flag tonight. They're not afraid to swap paint. I don't know if there's too much love loss between those 2. Actually, I believe they were our 2nd caution of the night. I apologize for that. Harris quickly jumps around Lorenzo. We'll see how long Lorenzo lets that go. Those 2 are going to try to set up. Oh, we get almost 3 wide. Jancic's, again, not sure which lane to block as he's going to get eaten by both sides. We're going to go 3 wide again through the middle of 3 and 4. The Crazy Dog t-shirts are trying to split Jancic as they work their way down the front stretch. 3 wide in the front stretch almost never works. We'll see if they can hold it off, though. This is some of the best racing we've seen up in the front all night long. Lorenzo comes out the leader out of that as well. James Harris is going to try to cross over out of turn 2 down the backstretch, but Harris on the middle side, Lorenzo on the high side. They go back into turn number 3 side by side, just gapping away from Craig Jancic now. Got about 7/10 ahead of Jancic as Harris is trying to get the run. Lorenzo's going to try to battle on the outside as they cross the line with just 23 laps to go. Oh, this is a great battle up front between the 2 Crazy Dog t-shirt rides. Lorenzo fighting hard on the outside, trying to get that momentum off. They're going to drag race again down the back stretch as they work their way back towards turn number 3. Let's see if Lorenzo tries to drive it in a bit deeper on the outside and make it stick. May also start trying to work James Harris down a little bit tighter off the corner to pinch some of his momentum, but Harris gets a good run down the front stretch. It's going to put him almost nose to nose with Lorenzo as they work their way back into turn number 1. Now entering the middle of 1 and 2. We'll see how the exit comes out if Lorenzo's able to get enough momentum. Again, we still got a great drag race. We've got battles now all over the front 6 or 7 cars, so we're going to keep it here on the lead as these two drivers continue to run side by side. Harris piloting the 55 machine on the inside, Lorenzo in the 77 machine on the outside. Oh, Harris pushes up just a little bit but keeps it clean. Looks like Lorenzo's going to try to follow underneath him, but he's going to see if he can cut underneath him. I think he was trying to execute that crossover move. He gets to the inside. Now we swap the cars. Lorenzo on the inside going into turn number 3. James Harris on the outside. Harris realizes he's not going to get there. He backs off. I don't think he's quite close enough to make the crossover. So Lorenzo's going to finally take that lead back. It's going to give him a 0.3 of a second lead as they cross the line with just 20 laps to go. That was one of the best battles we've seen at the front and one of the cleanest battles. Those two definitely cleaned it up from earlier on in the race. Let's go back a little bit though. We'll kind of see if we can find our way through the field as there's so much other stuff that is sorted out in the process. Janzik's fallen all the way back. He is back to 9th position on track. We'll see if we can get a replay if we get a second of what happened to him, but he's going to try to reset as looks like you got Tyler Meeks. He's trying to work his way to the back of Brett Murphy and Joe Gregory. This is for a battle of 6th, 7th, and 8th on track, but Meeks is staring down a little bit of a gap to try to make up. And unfortunately, was not faster than 2 cars in front. You see, he gets a good draft off of Brett Murphy. He's trying to close up, seeing if he can do anything in the late stages of this race, trying to pick up some spots, get his way back to the top 10 or top 5, excuse me. Brett Murphy quickly trying to work his way back to Joe Gregory, but not quite there. Gregory closed down on Dan Oliver though, so jump up there and take a look at that. That's going to be a battle for 5th and 6th on track. You also see Cam Anderson and Robert Wynn running side by side. Let's take a look at that. That's a battle for 3rd and 4th on track, and Robert Wynn up 13 spots where he started tonight. Started 17th, so all the way up to 4th spot. Could make it 14 if he's able to get by the inside of Cam Anderson. Robert Wynn's going to try to take that bottom lane. Anderson going to work all the way up to the top. You see him looking like that car was going to slide out of control into the wall. Probably hurt his corner speed a little bit. You see Robert Wynn driving by, and that also allows Dan Oliver, Joe Gregory, Brett Murphy, Tyler Meeks to all try to single file line to see if they can close back up to Cam Anderson. So we got a great battle on track. That's shaping up to be 4th through 7th, almost 4th through 8th if Meeks can insert his way. Looks like Gregory was trying to throw a few blocks there on Brett Murphy. Brett Murphy's working to the inside. Tyler Meeks decided to try to jump to the outside. So Cam Anderson's about to be in the folds of a 2x2 freight train coming to get him. All these drivers hungry for as many spots as they can get with just 16 laps to go. Lorenzo's pulled away. He's got almost a 3/4 of a second lead over Harris. If that closes down, we will certainly get back to that quickly. But ooh, looks like Dan Oliver gets into the outside retaining wall going into the first dog leg of the front stretch. So that unfortunately puts him back to 8th place. Looks like he was the first driver to blink an eye this group of cars. So Brett Murphy's going to try to work his way back to the inside of Cam Anderson. Oh, Tyler Meeks dives it in. There might have been some door contact with Meeks and Anderson. He quickly moves to the outside. Joe Gregory dives to the bottom. So that's going to leave Anderson falling back. He's going to be back to 7th place. Murphy's going to be leading. We got side-by-side battles here between Joe Gregory on the inside, Tyler Meeks on the outside. Put U of I up against Waste Whip. See which one comes out with the advantage. Right now, give it to U of I as Gregory gets a little bit of a better run on the inside off of turn number 2, but they're still side-by-side down the backstretch. Just 14 laps to go. Meeks has been known to run that outside line. I think that's been where he's a little bit comfortable. He kind of learned after Brian Lorenzo. So he's seen that work in past races. I think he's trying to put it to work here. They continue to battle. Meek's getting a really good run out of the front stretch into turn number 1. Looks like he's able to clear. He's going to try to dive down to the bottom. He's going to take all the way down to the white line, but certainly pulls in front of Joe Gregory. See if Gregory tries to get a draft and then dive to the inside as they go back into turn number 3. Looks like he's going to try to set that maneuver up, just not quite able there to get to it. Great battle. This again is for 5th and 6th on track. Brett Murphy's liking this. He's pulling away. He's got about a 6/10 of an advantage over these two. He's got his sights set on Robert Wynn. So we're going to look up here. So this is going to be a, as I say, this is a battle now for 3rd and 4th. I would say this is going to be a battle unfolding here in the next few corners. But Brett Murphy quickly inserting himself to try to get by Robert Wynn. Murphy going to take the inside line. Robert Wynn going to run the top 3rd of the track. Like Brett Murphy able to execute that with no issues, put him up into 3rd place now with just 11 laps to go. Move Robert Wynn back to 4th place, but still a great effort by Robert Wynn so far. Your point standings. Brett Murphy trying to move his way up. He came into tonight's event in 6th, trying to do what he can. And with Harley Berletta not able to race tonight, he's going to try to see if he can jump him. We got a great battle unfolding on track. Robert Wynn trying to do what he can to close back up to Brett Murphy. I just don't know if he quite has the car to be able to do it. Certainly a great battle. You can see Tyler Meeks, Joe Gregory kind of about a similar gap behind. They're all about 4.5 apart from each other, trying to close up. Lorenzo has checked out from James Harris. Crosses the line up front. We've got just 9 to go. He has pulled away from James Harris by about 2.5 seconds. Great lead for him so far. He is having the time of his life right now, as he's got nobody around him, nothing but clean track up in front, which is 9 laps to go. Try to take you through your top 10 here, closing stages of the race. Again, Brian Lorenzo up 2 spots, started 3rd tonight, taking the lead right now with just 8 laps to go. James Harris, the other Crazy Dog t-shirt righty, he's back in 2nd where he started tonight. Murphy's up 1 spot from a 4th place start. He's in 3rd place right now. Got in between him and 4th place of Robert Wynn, the 57 of Robert Mann, excuse me. Let's see. Meek's looking to now work on the inside, so as I said, Robert Wynn running in 4th right now. He's your hard charger, up 13 spots, starting 17th tonight. Tyler Meeks is running in 5th. That's where he started tonight. It's been in the lead, been back a few spots from 5th, but doing a good job recovering. Back in 6th. Joe Gregory, the UI Toyota Supra. He's up 3 spots from a 9th place start. Cam Anderson working to the inside of William Mann. He's running in 7th, down just 1 spot tonight. Mark Janzik, unfortunately, down 7 spots. He was your pole sitter tonight. Had a bit of trouble and has not really been able to recover from it, so he's back in 8th place tonight. Almost falling into the clutches of Dan Oliver. You see Dan Oliver there in the 83 Haas Ford Mobile 1 Mustang. He's running in 9th, up 2 spots from an 11th place start, and running out your top 10 just behind them is going to be the number 89 of Robert Wynn Jr. He's in that all-black machine Ford Mustang. He's trying to work his way to a decent top 10 finish. We've got just 6 laps to go. Lorenzo working by some lap traffic. He puts his 77 Crazy Dog t-shirt machine by the inside of the 51 of Charles Whitehead. He's going to leave us with 14 cars on the lead lap, which is 5 laps to go. He's really kind of gotten strung out a little bit. It tends to happen a little bit when you start to get to a long green flag run, so this has been one of the longest ones we've seen tonight. You're starting to see the difference in pace for who has tires, who doesn't, who's able to hang on to the cars, and who has been having some problems. We're going to go back. Dan Oliver trying to do what he can to get back to Janzik. It's going to be a bit of a tough struggle for him, though, as Janzik's starting to pull away a little bit. Janzik's going to be about 8.5 of a second. This time by... looks like it was about Oh, 3.5 tenths of a second separating their lap times, so Janzik's going to continue to open up that gap. Janzik's trying to set his sight on Cam Harrison. He's got a momentous 3.5 second gap almost to try to close up, so it's going to be pretty tough for him. Drivers, like I said, really starting to get spread out on track. We're up here in third place looking at Brett Murphy. He's trying to pull away again from Robert Gwynn after completing that pass. Trying to secure the third and final podium spot tonight. I believe this would be his first podium of the season, but I could be incorrect about that. But we'll see if he can hang on to that with just 3 laps to go. We're going to look Lorenzo with a little bit of lap traffic issue. You see, he was able to work by the 86 of Derek Stanley, quickly working to the inside of the 59 of Anthony Ferrante. Again, Ferrante in the MSI Ford Mustang machine. Took some contact earlier tonight, tried to get it repaired, but that car unfortunately has just not been right since he had that contact. Lorenzo working his way through turn 3 and 4. He's going to be coming out of turn 4 this time to see the white flag displayed from our flagman. Our next flag is going to end it tonight, whether or not we get a caution. I don't think that's very likely, but you never know. We'll see. Meeks is working his way across. Looked like he was trying to close up on Robert Wynn. We'll see if he can get there before they get onto the backstretch. He's trying to close up if he can, try to get another spot, see if he can get himself into 4th place. See if lap traffic comes into play. Brian Lorenzo is going to come across the start-finish line. He grabs the checkered flag. He's going to be your race winner tonight. Harris is going to bring home the other Crazy Dog machine in 2nd. Murphy hangs on to 3rd. Looks like Robert Wynn was able to hold off the charge from Tyler Meeks, so he's going to come in 4th place, and Tyler Meeks is going to come home in 5th place, rounding out your top 5. So look at all the drivers. A few minutes to get cooled down, and we'll see if we can get your top 3 into the booth here for some post-race interviews shortly. Certainly saw a good green flag run there to close out the event tonight. It was a great job by all drivers to keep it going. We certainly saw more cautions tonight than we had the last 2 races combined. Kind of only 1 caution between the last 2 events. 4 cautions tonight, but overall still a really good race here at Texas Motor Speedways. You're watching Brian Lorenzo burn it down. He's going to be looking to celebrate with those 6-gun shooters. He's going to pull those out of his hips and have a good time tonight celebrating that. As I said, we will give the drivers some time to cool down, see if they can collect their thoughts at their pre-race or post-race debriefs with their teams. You see Lorenzo just burning it down. He's enjoying that. So while Lorenzo burns that down, we've got all your drivers ready to go. We're going to get your 3rd place finisher, Brett Murphy, up in the booth. I've got with me our 3rd place finisher driver, the number 64 Chevy Camaro, Brett Murphy. Brett, it looked like that was a pretty eventful race. We saw some people kind of coming and going. We saw some different tire strategies with how the cautions were falling. How did you interpret tonight's event from inside the cockpit?
Yeah, I was honestly a little surprised at how well I was doing, running up front for the majority of the race, and then was just kind of determined when to take tires when everyone else was taking tires, and I managed to pull a decent strategy. I was out front, and then I just messed it up coming out of 4, and then coming that last caution, I decided I really don't have much to lose, so I took my fast repair, 4 tires. I was able to drive my way through the field. I just didn't have enough to get up to the front.
Yeah, we saw you in that side-by-side battle. I believe when you had the issue on the front stretch, you were engaged in a battle with Brian Lorenzo on the outside. Looked like the car kind of got a little loose. Maybe, I don't know, was that like a tight, loose condition where you had a little too much wheel? Or tell us what happened there coming on the front stretch when you had that issue.
I was really just trying to keep up with him, and then I just overdrove the corner. There was nothing else about it. I knew that he was going to be faster. I didn't think he was going to be that much faster. And then I kind of just misjudged it and then ran into the walls trying to keep it straight, and then I messed up the 35 because he ran in the back of me. But um, yeah, it was just a stupid mistake on my part, but it obviously didn't hold me back from a podium tonight, so I'm pretty happy with myself.
No, certainly could recover that way. We did see with this race being run at night, sometimes Texas, if it's run earlier in the day, it can be really hot and slick, especially in these Xfinity cars with the low downforce. Do you feel like the cooler temperatures helped maybe aid the setup, especially getting grip off a turn two? We knew a lot of times people can easily lose the back end coming off a turn two with the way the transition is. Or did you feel like the car was, kind of loose or tight both ends of the corners?
I truly felt like I was a New Englander because after about 10 laps, I was plowing every corner, unless I really, really backed it up. Uh, the tires were a problem, but I think that's more of, I don't know if it's a driver issue or an iRacing issue, but I can understand why people like Legacy Texas more than the normal Texas.
Well, certainly a great job being able to recover after those mistakes and navigate through a tricky field tonight, finishing third. Anybody you want to send a shout out to or a thank you to before we let you go for the evening?
Yeah, sure. My teammate Derek Stanley, him and I were helping each other out throughout the race. NS Service, EcoFuel, BM Designs, and then everybody that puts on this league, and then you guys for the broadcast. You guys do a great job.
Well, awesome to have you. We look forward to continue to success the rest of the event, and should be a good one, especially with Dover coming up next week.
Yeah, I don't really expect to be in the top three for Dover, but maybe one of the future races.
Oh, we'll be looking forward to you giving it the best shot. We'll look forward to talking to you again. Best of luck the rest of the season.
Thank you.
That was your third place finisher, Brett Murphy, 64 Camaro pilot. We're going to bring in our first of the two Crazy Dog T-shirts pilots. That's going to be the number 55 of James Harris, our second place finisher. Finally get to speak to James Harris. That was you and Brian Lorenzo probably put on one of the best battles I have seen for the lead in the closing stage of that race. How was that after that restart, especially if you guys had that contact there earlier on in the race?
Yeah, I don't know what happened with that contact. I don't know if you could tell me or what. I don't know if it was net code or what, but me and Brian have been teammates for over a year now, and a couple of our other leagues. So I know how I know it's safe to race around him and Craig. When we're doing that three wide, but Brian's a beast, man. He's been coming on lately. I think I wore my stuff out during that great battle.
Yeah, it was certainly engaged one. I think when we kind of reviewed that incident earlier on, I believe that was around like lap 17. It looked like it may have been a bit of an issue of Lorenzo kind of trying to turn a little too hard on the outside of you, cut it down, get a little loose, and then you kind of drifted up. But again, there could have been some of that code. Looked like a lot of people were having issues either with entries into turn one getting the car stick, or especially we saw a lot of drivers getting tight off a turn two, making contact with the outside wall. I don't know if you had any of those experiences or if you can lend maybe some insight from your perspective inside the cockpit of what might have been going on there in that end of the corners tonight.
Yeah, this setup, man, it was kind of loose on new tires for a few laps, and then it would get extremely tight. And I think we figured out why. We dropped the fuel to 60% for this race just to promote pit stops because I think Richmond someone went the whole race. Um, and when we do that, that puts more weight on the front of the car starting out. So I think that made these cars really, really tight. But you know that was the problem going in turn one. A lot of guys would overdrive it, and they would wash up, and then they would overdrive it on exit and hit the wall. But the setup was real tight, but to me, that kind of makes it kind of fun for tire management.
Yeah, well, we saw a lot more cautions. Obviously, the most cautions we've seen to date so far in any of the races, and it seemed like they kind of fell sometimes too. Some guys took tires earlier on in it, and maybe a little bit of some alternating strategies. There were some strategies seem to be better than others. Did you kind of have any kind of pre-planned pit strategy coming in, and were expecting cautions to fall, and did that make you deviate it with how they felt tonight, or did you kind of just play it by ear and see what the rest of the field around you was going to do?
Yeah, my pit strategy, if it had gone green, would have been pitted at lap 30 and lap 60. Um, and I figured we would have gone green because the first two races have had a lot of green flag racing. But then when that caution come out with around 31 to go, we had one set of tires left. I was like, do I take it now or do I wait? Because there's another caution. But we had had a long green flag run before that. So I had a feeling it was going to go green the rest of the way. And luckily enough, we made the right decision.
Yeah, certainly great decision being able to bring it home in second place. Anybody you want to send a shout out to before we let you go for the evening?
Yeah, I'd like to thank my beautiful wife, Courtney, for a great Father's Day and putting up with all my sim racing and all my gaming habits. And big thank you to Crazy Dog T-shirts for coming on. and sponsoring this league. I hope they're enjoying it, and I hope they stick around for the rest of the season and maybe a second season after this.
Well, yes, certainly great battle between you guys. Awesome, awesome battle on track all night long. Pleasure to see that between the two Crazy Dog T-shirts.com machines out there, and we look forward to talking to you in more future races.
Yeah, man, appreciate it. We got my favorite track next week.
All right, that was your second place finisher. That was James Harris finishing second tonight in the 55 machine. If we're going to bring in our race winner, your 77 driver, Brian Lorenzo,
See,
I've got with me your race winner tonight, man of the hour, Brian Lorenzo. I just spoke with Harris a couple minutes ago. I have to say, by far, that was one of the best battles for the lead I've seen, not just this season, but in any race that I've watched in quite a while. I don't know if you want to tell me about what that was like inside your view tonight.
yeah, it was definitely insane. We were all in the voice chat together, and I don't know if you've seen how I like got loose down the tri-oval. I don't know how I saved it. I don't know how we all crashed, but it's just having respect for each other. We've raced with each other for a long time, and yeah, we're just used to that kind of stuff.
Well, it certainly looked like a great job. I know you two had a little bit of contact earlier on in the event that brought out a caution. It seemed like there was no love loss or no bad blood or anything between you guys. You just went back at it and, like I said, gave us one of the best battles. Did that, with that sending you back in that contact, did it kind of set you back in terms of your strategy and change it at all on the fly through the rest of the race, or were you still able to stick to kind of what you had pre-planned coming into it?
Yeah, it definitely threw off my strategy involving the race. I had to take my fast repair early, and that spin caused my tires to pretty much be out the window. But I was able to somehow drive through the field with the tires pretty much burnt up, and I was able to put myself in a pretty good position ahead of James and Craig before our main pit stop for the tires.
Yeah, I commented to the viewers all night, not just tonight, but in past races this season. You really seem to favor that outside line, and certainly it gives you a lot of momentum coming off the corners to make a lot of these passes on driver, especially as tires start to wear. Did you feel like that outside line was any more conducive with both the setup and the track? I know viewers, some of them know that the turn one and two ends are banked a little bit differently than the three and four ends here at this Texas Motor Speedway. So was that outside line still viable on both ends, or did you feel like you needed to kind of deviate a little bit from each end of the track to make it as efficient as possible?
When you're running by yourself, I would definitely say the bottom is definitely the way to go all the time. Not even just running the bottom, but timing that exit every time you come out of one and two. Um, with the top line, it was definitely usable when it came to racing with other cars. One and two, definitely, it was really hard to keep the momentum on the top because we're going into the corner at a high speed, we're braking, and it's really hard not to let the car go up the track. But in three and four, you can really pinch that car down low, and they can't carry the momentum of being able to hold the throttle. They can't hold the throttle because you're actually up there. So that's what made the outside actually usable tonight. And as you can see, I was able to fight James, I was able to fight Craig, I was able to fight a lot of cars on that top.
Well, yeah, you certainly did a great job executing that. We watched you come back and forth a couple times through the field. I think you might have passed more cars than anybody else out in terms of green flag passes. So certainly great job that way. Anybody you want to send a shout out to or a thank you to before I let you go to celebrate this win tonight?
Thank Crazy Dog T-shirts, man. Thank you for being on the car, and it's great to see us get a 1-2 representing the brand. Got to thank Bronx Community College for giving me the education. I'm gonna get this next year. I got to thank you guys, of course, the Team Goom Squad, for putting on an awesome show in the broadcasting booth as usual, and thank the admins and family that have been supporting me since day one.
Well, congratulations on a great win. We look forward to more continued success and better battles for the rest of the season.
Yep, thank you.
All right, so with that, that is going to do it for our event tonight. Let's grab a quick look at the final results for you. We certainly saw a big difference tonight compared to the last two races. Like I said, more cautions tonight than we've had in the last two races combined, but that did not detract away from any of the on-track actions. Some of the best battles. We saw multiple three-wide moments, great battles for the lead back and forth between multiple drivers. Drivers passing each other high, low, fast, slow, all keeping it off each other. Great racing overall out there. So again, we'll recap your top 5. You see Brian Lorenzo with the win in the 77 machine. James Harris in the 55 able to bring it home in second. Brett Murphy able to bring it home in third in the 64 Ford Mustang. Or excuse me, Chevy Camaro. Robert Wynn in the Ford Mustang able to bring it home in fourth in the 16. Tyler Meese also able to squeak out a top 5 in the 35. You can see the rest of your finishing order there on the screen. And Kevin Kuchar was our only casualty. He finished 32 laps out in 19th. But overall, a great race, and I appreciate myself, Jake Fescana with Team Goon Squad, as well as all the Crazy Dog t-shirts series drivers. We all appreciate all the fans that were able to tune in tonight. We look forward to bringing you more flag to flag coverage next week as we will be at Dover for the 4th round of this series. And as always, we will continue to bring you all the action and invite anybody that might be interested after seeing this to come out, check out the Discord. There's a link for that in the description box. Drivers would love to have you out there and continue growing this field. You can see there's some great, clean on-track action. And we would love to have you guys out there. And again, if you need any t-shirt or graphics needs, please don't hesitate to check out Crazy Dog t-shirts. They would love to help you guys, and we are so appreciative for them coming on board to sponsor this league. So until next week at Dover, my name is Jacob Fiscannon, wishing you guys a great night and a great week. We'll see you next time.